Mic check, 1 2 1 2. What it do?
What's your name?
Georgette.
Oh, yeah.
That sounded a little like you were your throat was tight.
Because I know you wasn't about to say it. You was about to miss it again.
Welcome to Black and Nuance. You didn't say your name, though.
Robo Snap.
And Georgette, and you are listening to Black and Nuance. So this is going to be an interesting one for you. Welcome to Black and Nuance, dispelling the ideas that all black people are monoliths. We're not. We bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuance, powered by Excitement Radio. Thank God I wrote that in there, Snap, because you know we always forget. And we have some special guests on the line. I'm excited about this episode, Snap. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
So episode 14, introducing our first guest. We got Twan360 in the building.
Yo.
Don, tell us about yourself real quick.
Well, I'm Twan the Don. I do a show called Twan360 every Monday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. Just talking about the things that go through regular hot topics.
Yep.
And I always end with a topic, whether why do men cheat, dating people with children. I come from the church, so I talk about things that go on inside of the church, like pastors not doing what they're supposed to do and doing it when they ain't supposed to be doing it, and, all that kind of good stuff.
I love it. Because I said his name whole ass backwards. I said Twan360. That's the
But
name of his show.
it's cool.
Twan the Don.
No, it's all good. People actually call me Twan360 now, and I'm like, no,
Yes,
that's just
they
the name
do.
of the show.
But your branding is so effective.
I think that's what it is.
I love it.
I'm still Twan the Don, though.
Yes, Twan the Don. Okay, so our next guest, he is calling in from Oakland. Oakland, Wakanda forever. I call him my cuz, but the world, as he knows it, I know it, calls him Saint Asia. Saint, what is up?
What's going on, y'all? Nothing much. It's really smoky over here in Oakland right now. I'm interested in getting into this conversation that we're about to get into. As far as me, basically, I would identify myself as an influencer of influencers. I'm pretty much the person that your favorite influencer is influenced by. So that's what I do. And, other than that, I just generally mind my business and keep a low profile.
Generally, I mind my business. I love it. I know those wildfires. They said the wildfires even made its way to New Jersey. I thought I literally read that.
Yeah, the air quality is really bad right now.
Oh, gosh.
It's kind of like the worst I've ever seen.
That's
but,
so
we over
crazy.
here, we warriors, so it's all good.
I love it. So, episode 14, I'm always influenced by different things with topics. Snap leaves the topics and the producing to me. He's like, yeah, you got that. He's like, look, if you could see his face right now, he's like, yep, don't even worry about it. Like, that is not my forte. And so I was really, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I remember when I was doing my shift, my on-air shift, and I saw that Kalani was pregnant and she was glowing, and I was like, oh, this is so dope. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. I was like, ooh, who's she dating? And then it started turning into like, oh, Kaylani, like I thought she was a lesbian. I thought she was this. So it started opening up different things, and it had me thinking. Janelle Monáe did an interview with Rolling Stone where she came out as pansexual, and they were talking about actress Tessa Thompson and how they were allegedly dating. And so I was like, you know the fuck what? And I had to say it like that. I want to talk about gender fluidity. And so my cuz has definitely, I call him my cuz because I don't even call him by his name for real. But he and
We all have that one cousin.
Yeah, like
I have a cousin that I literally call her cousin.
Right. And so he put me on to, like, he was opening my mind, and I feel like he's always been opening my mind. We just have amazing conversations. And so years ago when I used to do this internet radio show on Blog Talk Radio, we were talking about, I think I had brought him on, and I forgot what the topic was, but he was just like, you should definitely clarify that you are cisgender or you're a cis woman. And so when I went on there to find clarification, I had found that article I shared with you all, and I'll put it in the show notes about Facebook's 51 gender identifications. So I was just like, oh, I identify as the sex I was born with, but I'm also heterosexual. But I'm an advocate, and anyone that knows me and has talked to me, I'm an advocate for the LGBTQ community. And so when I would be around friends that would judge people like, oh, look what he's wearing, I was like, what the fuck does that matter? Like, I would literally get upset, and I don't like it.
It's all too much.
I don't like it. Like, what are we judging for, right? And so they would just shut up real quick. They're just like, I can't talk around you. I'm like, no, it's just you're calling someone out that did nothing to you. Like, it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
You're just saying, like, he looks gay. Like, that's offensive. Anywho, so I say
And
all
also, that's not a thing, by the way.
Right. I'm not here for it. So the best person that I thought, I was just like, I want to mix this up because, Snap and I speak from the place of, as my line sister would call it, privilege, right? Like, we're cis hetero, right? So he identifies with the sex that he was born with, but he's also a heterosexual male, black male, and I'm.
How you doing?
You better see.
He's super quiet over here. Hey, Snap.
Because this is one of those topics, right?
One of those topics.
This is one of those.
Like, Snap is like, I'm gonna listen before I respond this time. He's gonna listen, and so, but Cuz was the one that really opened me up to that, and I was just like, I want to mix, right? And Twan, you know, I've always wanted to get you on anyways. Like, you always are very open-minded and unfiltered.
I try to be.
And so is my cuz. And my cuz is very gender fluid, and he doesn't really identify. So I was just like, let me mix this conversation up to really just not necessarily say, like, we're the authority on these things, but so people can hear different perspectives. And what was kicking this inspiration off was Kehlani, and she's talked about her queerness and what queer actually means and, you know, why she decided to get pregnant. And
From a bisexual man.
You are.
No, ew, I'm not.
Oh,
no,
is that what you
Kehlani's
said?
pregnant from a bisexual man.
Yeah, and so.
Oh no, not me.
Is he?
Never.
Oh, that's why I was just. When you said it, I'm a bisexual. I thought you were saying like you were saying it as.
That is so disgusting.
What?
See?
Me being bisexual.
Well, because you love men.
As much as I can.
See?
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
He don't like that pink stuff. I used to always
See,
like.
okay, so that's what I'll get into later.
Right. Okay.
There we
So
go.
I want to kick this off, at least revolving around Kehlani, and then bringing my cousin into this conversation because, you know, my cousin, he's an influencer and he bops around as freely as he does in California. And so I read the article about Kehlani, and she was basically saying that, well, Kehlani's pregnant. I'm happy for her. Like anyone that's in a position to have children. And be able to raise children and do what they can and provide all the resources that they can. Like, I'm all for that. I didn't even know about her sexuality, to be honest with you. It wasn't a thought in my mind. It was just like, oh my gosh, like one day she wasn't pregnant. And the next day I was like, is she dating? Like, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But when she was talking about her queerness, the one thing that came out was, and I want to read some of these quotes. I'm just waiting for this. Oh, yes, so the article is up. So reading snippets from Bossa, but basically she was just like, she said she's gotten everything that from people making comments like, I thought she was a lesbian, to she was using queerness to promote her career, then went on, betrayed them with a man, to her baby father is just a sperm donor. Like, if she wasn't grounded in who she was, this shit is offensive. So let me throw that out there before we go into Janelle Monáe. So, Cuz, do you have anything to say? Or Saint Asia, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I just want to overarch all of this by saying that these conversations we are having are really conversations for us because the people that we're talking about, it's their business and the way they identify. So we don't really need to understand any of the stuff we're talking about. It's for them to understand their own identities. We're just doing this because we need to further seek kind of clarity for our own selves. I just want to separate our understanding versus their understanding of themselves, and only their understanding is important. I just want to say that.
Okay, cool. Twan?
Like he just said, they are, they identify with who they are.
Yep.
It's their business. But sometimes I'll be real, sometimes I sit in the seat of judgment. So I'm just saying, sometimes I'm like, did she do this to promote her music? But I don't think so. Right. Sometimes I have a feeling, and I didn't feel that from her. Everything that she put out, I thought it was very genuine. And I actually met her. I think it was Art Basel last year.
Okay.
And I knew then. I was like, okay, guys are really hitting on her, but she's checking these other girls out. And she had her guy her friend. He had him with her, and I'm like,
the guy that's her father,
yes,
the father of her child. Okay.
So sis is hanging with her, but I would have never put two and two together that they actually
were planning to have a child together.
Having a child together. But sometimes I can see it. I can see how and I tell my friends all the time, especially when they drink, to stay away from me because because some girls they touchy feely, and then sometimes I'm in my feelings and I'm never ever going down that route. But right. I can just see how that can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, everyone's feeling very emotional and open. Well, the other thing that she made a comment about, she was like, I've never identified as a lesbian. I've always been pansexual. And then we'll get into the
And I'm sorry, I'm really ignorant when it comes to the different sexuals. Yeah. What is pansexual?
Guys, do you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so pansexual, there's pansexual and then there's panromantic, right? Because you have a whole separate set of people that say that they're not attracted to people based on sexuality. It's more of a romantic thing, so it's more of an energy. Pansexuality just means that you're interested in all genders, in all gender identities. And so since there's so many of them, we could say I'm
like a stir fry. You putting everything in one pan.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's on an individual basis. It doesn't. It's like it sounds more sloppy than it is. You could still be like monogamous with someone, but because there's so many different identities, it's like the person that you wind up being attracted to may not be just a man or a woman. It may be someone that's intersex or, you know, that is gender non-binary or whatever they want, you know, a unicorn or a llama, whatever they call themselves. You can call yourself anything you want.
Right. That's the way I understand
it.
Right.
You know, and so the idea is that pansexual people approach sexuality and attraction based on the individual in front of them, not based on this is a man, this is a woman, this is a gender non-binary person, this is, you know, gender queer. This is just a person, and I'm interested. So that's what pansexual means.
Okay,
and
so
yeah, no, so that's pretty much
that's
it.
what it is.
Yeah, and I'll put the I said, I'll put the article in the show notes that had at the time, like 4 years ago, Facebook came out. Basically, they went from male to female as a gender option to 51 different options, and so
right. So then, you know, and there's more than that. But like, you know, imagine like, if I'm saying, well, I'm pansexual, so that means all 51 of those people, there might be someone I'm interested in that identify as whatever those 51 options are. And that just makes it more of a humanist thing than kind of like a sexuality or like
it all just gets tough. It's just all it just gets confusing because
it actually makes it pretty easy, if I might say so, because I identify as pansexual also.
No, like I get it, but I'm on a hunt for love. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of, I don't know. Like I could never date I couldn't say that because most of the men that I've talked to have been bisexual because they have girlfriends and stuff. So
okay, wait. We need to get into that in the All of the Things segment.
Go ahead.
We're gonna get into that in the new segment because I want to hear about that. We'll continue.
No, it's because I'm truly like on the hunt for love. I'm like, there has to be that one for me. But if he's bi, that's already two. Right. You know what I'm saying? So he can want what I have one day and then want what she has the next. So it's like, where's that?
But that's not true though, because if you guys decide on monogamy, like this is the part that
we're not doing that. Monogamy is when everybody's doing it.
No, monogamous relationships, like you're dating one person.
Okay.
Polygamy is like when someone's married to more. Yeah.
Got you.
Okay, so you're into monogamous relationships.
So if you decide that you want to be monogamous, it's really up to you and the person that you're dealing with. Like, you know, for you to say, oh, well, this person's bisexual, so they may want a woman at another point in time. Not if you didn't agree to that. If you agreed that you were only going to be with that person and you guys were going to be monogamous,
because you in California,
really
these niggas down here in Fort Lauderdale, in Florida.
I grew up on the Jersey Shore, like just south of New York City. Like, trust me, I have been around the block, and I'm telling you, like, people have to treat you the way that you want to be treated.
Right.
And if you tell somebody I'm going to be monogamous with you, and they go sleep with somebody else, that's called cheating. It doesn't really matter what their sexuality is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
And they need to go. Like, that's it. Like, you can't. So.
And so, on the topic of pansexuality, Janelle Monáe came out in Rolling Stone earlier this year about being pansexual, but it was interesting because reading the full article on Rolling Stone, she talks about her background. She grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and that's just not how her family grew up, right? And so, devout religious family. And, you know, she said, I'm a free-ass motherfucker.
That's
like,
right.
I love that. And so, okay, so now that that's out, the pop culture piece of this is out. Let's go through. I just want to kind of talk about everyone's thought process about a lot of these things and how everyone identifies and what their thought processes are about these different types of gender identities. Because a lot of people are really judgmental, but I think it's judgmental because of ignorance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even sometimes...
Can Snap go first?
Yes, he can go first.
Yes, hey, Snap.
But I think it's a...
Snap is not going to get off TV.
Oh, no, because he's been listening to some of these episodes, Snap, and he was like, yeah, I can't wait to talk to your co-host. But it was, I think it's from a place of judgment and what my line sister is getting me to understand, which she's going to be on the other episode she's on the other episode that we did, place of privilege, right? Because again, when you white men are in a place of privilege because
white women too.
White women as well, but it's just because of how this country was built and what happened in this country to people of color, black and brown people of color.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with sexuality, right? No one's really thinking about it. But even I think, my cousin and I had an offline conversation. I think we said something along the lines, cuz, about even homosexual white men are coming from a place of privilege, right? Like you could
definitely.
Look at,
so,
yes. I mean, there's privilege in just like me personally. Like I present a more masculine, like I have a beard and like I wear menswear and all that, but like it's opposed to someone that's maybe more feminine that might wear women's clothes or whatever. Like there's privilege in even that. Like there's so many layers of privilege, and I mean, honestly, like people, that's why identity is so important, because we have to be able to say it doesn't matter how you identify. We should all be looking at each other equal anyway.
Right.
But there's privilege in all of it.
Right.
Like, it really is.
Snap. So what are your thoughts about, I don't know if that kind of, your head blew a gasket reading about all those different identifications.
No gaskets being blown today.
Right. But then it was also just wanted to throw out there that there's a
Right.
difference between gender identification and sexual preference, and knowing that these things aren't mutually exclusive, although people try to group them up as such.
I first want to start by saying the more labels, the more confused I get. The more labels you put on, the easier it is for someone else to judge. All right? So for me, I am an African-American male. I am a straight man. I am attracted to the opposite sex, a woman. I've mentioned in the past that I've never been, well, I don't want to say I've never been, because I was at one point. I say I'm not homophobic, but even in my ignorance today, I still see that I am not so much homophobic, but
More of your statements sometimes out of ignorance.
Come out
as homophobic. Yeah.
right. And in my heart, I know that everyone is an individual. Everyone has a right to love someone. Everyone has a right to be loved. And who am I to judge anybody? Mm-hmm. So, moving forward, again, how I identify, these things confuse me, because I just think if you're gay, to me, gay means one man likes another man. If you're a lesbian, a woman likes a woman. If you're bi, you like both. The whole pansexual,
Like, even Snap looks nervous now. Like, even he's like, I don't.
Okay.
I don't wanna offend.
From my understanding,
Yes.
that just meant to be human being.
Yeah.
That meant, listen, me as a man, if I choose to like you, that's what I do. If I choose to like you, I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Jamaican, Haitian. It's an attraction. That's how I always saw it. I never saw it as being pan something. Mm-hmm. So, again, when you start throwing the categories and things confuse me, because a lot of these definitions mean the same thing. But, again, the labels, when you give it a label, you give it the option to be judged by others. And so let me take the example of what Twan did. I understand Twan to be a gay man. But when we mentioned bisexual, he thought it was disgusting. And so...
Because he's not interested in women. Like,
I don't think it's disgusting, but
so
to a certain extent.
So my struggle and accepting you for who you are and who you love and what you do kind of interacts with my orientation of what sex should be, right? And so I don't like to see anybody getting intimate in the street. That's for your home, and you know what I'm saying? And so, again...
so you don't like PDA?
PDA. I was over here trying to think.
So, I don't... You know, that's
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a pack you out, and you know, the mood is right, you get but your tongue all in his mouth, his tongue all in your mouth, that's not something I want to see. So, and that's what
look
both...
the other way.
He said then look the other way.
Right, see? and so...
I mean... And that's ableist to say, but like I'm sure your next words, right? Like, I'm assuming, I've never met you, but I'm sure that you're like fully functioning. You can move around. So just look the other way. If you couldn't do that, that would be a different story. But
right. And so that's where I fight with it, because I'm like, should I be feeling this way?
Yeah.
You know?
But where did that? I just again always like to go into the root of some of these things. Like, what was your perspective on growing up when it wouldn't?
All right. Well, okay. So my fear. Okay. So growing up, my mom had a brother who was gay. He passed away from HIV. I don't know what.
So
year
your
it was.
uncle.
My uncle.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I think early on, it scared me, and the reason it scared me was because when he would come to visit, following his visits, as he would leave, every glass, every whatever that I saw him touch or whatever, my mom like literally separated all the dishes and would bleach him out. And so I'm like, what is all of this about? Like
ignorance,
you know, and to the point where when he would come over, it was ignorant. But me and my friends, like I'd be like, yo, my uncle, I'm out. And we would all run from him. And he would chase us sometimes. But this is, I mean, but he was
the vision that you see, but it's kind of crazy.
But he was on some super flamboyant shit. It wasn't just like no regular, you know, like, okay, I can't step out the house and be like, damn, that's a gay man looking at Twan. No, but this dude, I mean, he taught ballet. He wore spandex with like
So
it was just
all these stereotypes.
yeah, and it was just like I thought that all gay men were just over the top.
Got it.
I didn't know that they were just regular gay men.
Excuse me.
See, I just
Right. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, 'cause
But
you just
again,
don't
so
know.
I knew that I was ignorant. But again, even being young ignorant, what I was saying was I knew that thought process was even wrong. So, in trying to educate myself, I don't do therapy, but in trying to accept it, like I don't.
He came out real quick.
Like
okay?
yeah, so
You
and
don't,
then
you don't do therapy, Snap?
I
Like, at all? Like,
don't.
Okay.
That's another
I don't.
episode, because there's an episode where we talked about
Okay.
why he doesn't do it.
Right, but
Okay.
again, I can say that Twan has been my friend for almost 12 years or so. How long
gosh.
he's been here, and I watched Twan grow up. Like I watched Twan as a 18-year-old, 19-year-old step his foot into a business that was ready to eat him up, and he excelled. You know, and in that, right, there were times where I'd be like, "Is Twan gay?" But I couldn't ask him because it was just something, and I don't know if it's the
couldn't or
way
you chose not
I
to?
chose. Maybe I chose not to.
Because there's no such thing
right.
as couldn't or can't. We just choose.
And so
Yeah.
we often say in our community, the black community, black men don't know how to understand how another black man could love another black man. And
Ooh, I think that's. Ooh, okay.
well, and
I'm
so
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, Saint Asia.
No,
but
go ahead.
yeah, and so that's something I also and it was through friends, it was through peers. You know, this was the thing. Like I can't ever say before Twan, I actually had a gay friend. And
I hear
I mean,
that all the time.
what's up?
I hear that all
But you know
the
the crazy
time.
thing is like the fact that they're even saying like a gay friend. It's like Twan is Twan.
Because I don't have any gay friends.
Oh.
I don't have any, like, when I think about it, I don't have any gay friends. And most of my friends are thugs. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's where I grew up. You know, I came from the hood. So those are the people that I know, and they're like real life thugs. And when they see me, it's like, you know, I fuck with you. Like,
Okay.
you know, you just.
And so that's the other hidden part behind it. That I fucks with you part. But yet you'll have a girl at home and seeing Twan on the side. Even though, you know, I'm
yeah,
just,
that-
you know,
yeah,
that kind of, and then it's like the hiding
and
it
you
in
put
the
your head
hood.
down. I
The
can't-
hiding it in the
That
hood.
doesn't sound like friendship to me.
No. What I'm saying
No,
is
he's
that
saying-
I do have real life friends that I went to school with and that I grew up with, and we're friends, and they know what it is. I've never tried them; they've never tried me, but we are like real life friends.
Right.
But on the flip side,
No,
you know,
Snap was using an example. He
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
using
yeah.
Twan. Cause
Snap mentioned having a girl at home though.
No, he was taking
Only
another-
yeah,
fucking-
he
no,
was
he was
taking
talking about an
yes.
example like
Fucking
of a
with
black
you
man
on
in
the
general.
side.
Yeah, no, he wasn't talking
Right.
about Twan.
So generally, I was saying that doesn't sound like a friendship. Not you guys personally. I'm just
Okay.
saying that idea doesn't sound like friendship.
now
What do you mean,
I have
though?
had friends, like friends,
Yeah.
and it actually led somewhere that it shouldn't have, you know. And okay, I'll just be
Ah!
quiet.
I can't-
I'll just be
But
quiet.
but what? Because I feel like you want to say something in regards to. I mean, again, like he understands. I think Snap is definitely aware like the ignorant thought process, but a lot of it
Absolutely.
stems from.
No. I mean, like, listen, this is where I'm at. Like, Snap, you can believe what you want. I just think that this is an interesting conversation to have because we are men of color, and like one of the things that you said that was so poignant was that you don't feel like black men are capable, or you don't understand how two black men could love each other. And I'm going to lend to you that is one of the most radical things that two black men can do given our history in this country. And it doesn't always have to be sexual. Like, I mean, you know, we could use your relationship with Twan as an example. There's small moments where you uphold and build and love another black man by, like, just basic interactions with them. So the idea of having an actual full-blown relationship with them is, like, a different story. But it also lends to something that is very natural and something that we all need.
Absolutely.
Like, a lot. So, I mean, I think that it's just so interesting that black men, of all the men in this country specifically, that we feel like we are the ones that should not be doing this when we are the ones that should be doing this the most. And I mean, just like loving each other in whatever capacity.
Right.
And that doesn't happen. And I mean, we don't have to go down the list of why or, you know, how it's not happening, but it's obviously not happening. We don't even look at, a lot of us don't even look at each other in the face for whatever reason, and it's mostly fear. But as it applies to sexuality, like,
Right.
It's like I feel like the most radical thing I can do, knowing that I'm interested in men and I'm interested in women and I'm interested in a whole lot of other people, but as it applies to men, it is more radical for me to try and be romantic or like share feelings or share safe spaces with black men specifically because of the traumas that we have dealt with generationally, and we still are dealing with today. And only black men understand how it is to walk around being a black man.
All right.
Period.
Okay. Listen, I think Moonlight. Has everyone seen Moonlight?
I tried.
Yeah, I saw it. It was
You said
good.
you tried. Yeah, I can't. The ending was everything to me, right? And so,
It was.
not to spoil it, but essentially, using the thug stereotype, Twan, that you said you have
Right.
friends. Like, how would you describe it? Because, like, I think the main character was you saw his character go through various stages of being a child, a teenager, and an adult, but he struggled with being. But he had a moment, like an intimate moment that Saint just described as far as like black men can have with each other.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, I think what the director and what they were trying to get at more than anything was like, so at the base level, all of us are energy, and we're all spiritual energy, and we all either have love or fear. And what the dude was saying at the end was, the more thugged out dude, he was talking about basically he had not been touched by anyone ever, other than this one man that was standing in front of him. And what made that so intense was the fact that when you talk about touch, you're talking about a form of love. That's a love language. So what this man essentially is saying is that he had not been loved by anyone other than this one guy. This surpassed his physical attraction for another man. This was about energy. This was about the fact that nobody had ever made him feel smart or wanted or cared for or whatever. And like, or had touched him, like physically had touched him. And I think that for a lot of black men specifically, that is a real thing where a lot of black men feel like they have not been supported in the way that maybe black women have been supported, or the way that other people on this planet are supported. We are very much so like left kind of like behind when it comes to affection and, just like, having safe spaces and stuff. Me and Georgette talked about this, Snap, but like when I heard like you talk about some stuff that you've dealt with, I'm like, somebody needs to tell him like you are like strong as fuck, and like I hope somebody gave you a hug and a whole lot of other stuff. Cause, like,
I appreciate you saying, Asia.
seriously.
I appreciate you.
And like it's just like we deal with so many things, and like again, like it's like that movie was so important, not so much because like I think people really got like off on the whole like, oh, these two dudes are gay. But for the main character, the dark-skinned one, and forgive me, I
forgot his name too. Yep.
But for him, like that storyline was so important because for him it was about family, it was about unity, it was about community, it was about love, and it was about a spiritual exchange with someone that he had never had that really with anyone else.
I agree.
And that was the most important part of that movie. But yeah, they were also, lovers and two men.
But they didn't end the way that most people thought they would have ended, and I actually thought it was perfect. Twan, try to go back and watch it if you can. I know it's Twan's like I can't.
There's only a kiss. Come on, Twan.
Wait, was it boring to you? What was it?
I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
I don't know if it was.
It just wasn't that.
It just Or
it was like a slow start. Or something?
It was really and I think it was late at night when I attempted watching it.
I forgot how I saw it. Oh, I saw it in the movie theater.
I actually saw it by accident, and I'm like, oh, this is the movie everybody's been talking about, and I still can't get into it. But for you guys, I'll try my best.
Yes, and Snap, I think you should try it too. But so Snap, one last question before we move on. I just want to throw this to the floor. Is there just a real fear of being guilty by association when it comes to people of different sexualities? Is that something that's reigned true for you, Snap?
Yes.
That's a very good question.
Come on now.
Listen, not to cut you off, but
not just with Snap.
Right.
It could be with anybody.
Because
right?
I'm that friend,
yep.
and I have a clique, and I don't like to say that we're a clique, but it's like 4 or 5 of us. We went to high school together, and we're still friends to this day. And people often look at them like, how the hell y'all hanging around with 120? And we all know that it's like, so it kind of puts that label on them, and then they have to kind of stand up for themselves and like, nah, this is my brother. I still love him the same. That's him. This is what he does. That's his business.
Go
through it. So
yeah,
I've often asked them that question, like, how does that feel, or
like them associating with you.
Exactly. So I would love to hear Snap's response.
I know. I've thought, again, the exact same thing. Growing up not so much growing up, even now, just the whole.
But what's the fear? Do you think that they're going to think you're gay?
Again, that's an argument that I don't want to have to fight with. And so that's a thing with us.
Back to his childhood because he doesn't like arguing.
And from what I understand, I don't think it's a fear on their part. It's just the stereotype that people kind of put on them, and it's like, damn, now I got to get up and defend myself.
But if you know who you are, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
I know, and I get that. And Saint Asia, I want to thank you for giving me a different perspective on knowing that only a black man can know the struggle of another black man, and I understand that. I get that, and I never thought about it from that way.
I didn't either, but I mean,
know what I'm saying?
But he and I offline like this all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but with him saying
we're having
that,
this conversation, I think it's a really important.
Absolutely. And again, it opens this dialogue that a lot of us in our community don't have.
Yep.
I
agree.
And so, yes, I was that guy. I'm like, damn, if me, Twan, and everybody else going out, I'm down. Twan, do you want to just go to lunch? Damn.
Then you start
wait a minute.
questioning
Then I'm
it.
like, wait, okay. Who might see me out there?
But that's honest.
And then
people aren't willing to admit that.
And I got some shady ass dudes. Some dude a Snapchat a picture of me and shit and be like, yo, look who I seen Snap with on some neck shit.
But
and now
Snap,
I'm like, wait a minute.
But Snap, you
I know. But and I don't.
Snap is over here like with his fingers. Like I don't.
Yo, I'm sweating right now.
But it is hot in
That's
here.
crazy.
But so, cuz, any last
I
thoughts?
wish I was in the studio.
I know, no, we in here
my
sweating
God.
for real, but Snap is on some other shit, like twiddling his fingers, like shaking a little bit.
Sorry, Snap. It's because I'm here. Sorry, Snap.
No,
I
it's-
apologize.
Yo,
masculinity is
Twan,
really-
see?
yo,
Wait, what you were saying?
masculinity is super fragile. Like, and I get it, and I'm not even judging anyone. I'm not in the space to do that. I don't think anyone's in the space to do that. Honestly, I
Absolutely.
think that we all just need to understand each other. But honestly, Snap, I'm gonna tell you, I have some straight hood, especially here in. I think we are in a bit of a bubble living in California. There is just a different vibe here.
Yeah.
But
New York was the same way
I
for me
have
too.
some OG niggas that will take me out to dinner.
Yes.
And we will be at the top of whatever, and they are not interested in having sex with me
At all.
and-
Now, I may
or
be a
whatever,
little
but
interested.
See,
But
But
they
I'm
would
just
like
saying.
me, but they don't mind hearing about oh yeah, I'm talking to so and so, or they'll be like, oh, let me introduce you to my homeboy, and I could have on the same shit they got on, or I could jazz it. Sometimes I get a little bit more sexy and I
There
just
you go.
wear something else, but it's just I don't know. I feel like what I've known to be true in my life is that true straight men, true heterosexual men take no issue with being around queer people. They just don't. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying that whatever, I think it maybe, you talked about your uncle, so maybe your uncle is a big part of the reason why you have such a stigma with the flamboyance of what homosexuality can be. But I just think that really we're moving towards a space in this world and just in this existence where those ideas need to die and burn.
Absolutely.
Twan is a dope ass motherfucker. I can tell by him being on the phone for a
He
couple
is.
of minutes.
Twan is
So
cool
it
as
really
shit.
doesn't matter. I would you should want to take him out to lunch and sit there and be seeing snaps
See
with
that?
him, because I feel in reality, if y'all are
Shake me
really
out,
good
Snap.
friends,
Yo.
none of that matters. It just doesn't. Just.
I love it. Okay, so I want to get into this last segment. We call it All of the Things, where we go into stuff about, first and foremost, thank you all for this.
I appreciate it.
This
Thank you
open
guys for having
dialogue
me here.
and conversation.
Yes.
This again, like I
Saint
said,
Asia,
Yes.
Twan 360, Antoine the Don.
this is just an open conversation, but just to get some type of conversation started, I just wanted to throw it out there because, again, Black and Nuance, I just want to push the envelope. Even for me, because I've been podcasting for some time, so I just want to actually just keep pushing my producer chops on topics and things of that nature and guests. And so going into all of the things, so this is where it's heavy, lighthearted, just some shit that we're going through or dealing with. And something that came up to me, and maybe because I was dealing with it, and I think it was a conversation I was having with my cuz. Insecurities in relationships, insecurities with your partners, and people projecting that onto you. I know Snap is in a relationship. Cuz, what are you doing? You bopping around?
I am doing me.
Okay.
Listen, I'm doing me 100%.
And then, Twan, you said you're
That's
looking
what
for
I'm doing.
love.
I'm looking.
But I know we've all dealt with insecurities in relationships and stuff like that. How do we, the biggest thing so let me just kind of put in a pseudo example for me. Someone that I like and dealing with, there's a lot of trauma, triggers that they're not aware of, conscious and subconscious, unconscious and conscious or subconscious, and things like past pains and hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I can't get within the place that I'm in my life right now is projections, like insecurities and stuff like that. So the guy that I'm dealing with, I've known for some time, just started projecting his insecurities onto me as if I'm the reason for his pain and his past trauma. And I nipped that shit in the bud really quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember sending a text message to him, and all of a sudden got an attitude, felt like I was being scolded like a fucking child. And one of my pet peeves, I am so patient in my life, y'all. Like, I'm patient with a lot more things I should be patient with. But the first place I lose my gasket, and I don't even think twice about it, is when I feel like I'm being scolded or yelled at by someone that's not my fucking parents. And I've had,
Listen,
I mean,
don't
like,
take
I
me
don't
down
care if
that
you're a
road.
CEO.
What?
I don't care if you are my manager.
Well, hello.
Georgette the asshole, I mean, that switch flips on very quickly. I go from 0 to 360.
You become invisible to me.
Oh, yeah. I
Literally.
don't think twice about it.
I see right through you.
And so I had said something to him. I was just like, oh, you're not going to scold me like I'm a fucking child. Whatever you got going on has nothing to do with me.
Right.
And he was, you know, like take that energy elsewhere. So they respond back like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but fine, I'll take my energy back to work. They fucking gathered and collected their thoughts, text me right back, and was like, you're right. Yes, I'm right. I know there's something going on that has nothing to do with me. But the fact that, I just want to know how you all handle it. Like, are y'all dealing with insecurities and have y'all dealt with insecurities in past relationships? How have y'all dealt with it? If y'all are dealing with it now, Snap is currently in that situation. I don't know if Snap is going to get that detail because.
So I don't know. I'm 31. I just turned 31, and
Get it, Twan.
I have not like been in a serious relationship, like, and I don't want to make myself seem less than or seem slutty or anything like that, but I've never had a man of my own. And when I do, you know what I'm saying? And not that I'm out. No. See, that's why I didn't want to say it that way.
It sounds, 'cause you're
but right, but I've never had a man of my own, but we've always had our own thing, if that makes any sense.
Your time is my time.
Right, whether I knew he had a girlfriend or not, like we always had our own thing, and the insecurities that I've dealt with always came from them. You know,
meaning like the fact that they were living this what they felt like was a double life,
right,
and them going back to
exactly. And I have a problem when I love hard. So it's like I can't, like, even though in my mind and even though that I may know the situation, like I'm quote unquote sharing you, it's like, nah, nigga, you still mine. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I've never been there, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of expound on that. But
so you've been on the receiving end of someone's insecurities.
Oh, I'm always on the receiving end.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
wait, what are
he
we
has
talking
yet
about?
to have.
Well, no, because I was on the receiving end. That's what I mean. Like they're basically projecting onto you
whatever they were going through.
They're projecting onto you
on
has
me.
nothing
So I'm
to
like,
do with
okay,
you.
now I just got off from work. What's your issue?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
and then when I get to the core of it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, so now you mad at her, or you didn't get what you were supposed to be getting from, and now I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
No, sir, we will not.
Yeah.
So I've been in a place, and I've been single for a very long time. I'm actually married to myself. I'll say that. I love me. I put myself
What
first.
they call it? They called it something on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
What-
Sologamy.
Sologamy.
I'm like,
yes.
what the fuck, y'all?
Right.
This is not sologamy.
So I'm sologging myself right now.
That's funny. Cuz,
Yes.
what about you, Saint? What about you?
How
How do you deal with insecurities?
So first of all, I don't deal with anyone else's insecurities.
Okay.
That's one.
Yes.
Not even my own mama. Like, it's not happening. That's not my bag. I'm not interested. We all have insecurities. It's our job to work through it. People can help us, but we should not be projecting our insecurities onto anyone. So no, generally I don't deal with that. In the past.
Have you dealt with it in the past, though?
Yeah, so I haven't always been the person I am now, right? Like, we all, grow over the years. And the thing is, I have dealt with situations where people have tried to make me feel insecure about they shit, but I think that we all have the same set of tools. We know when that shit is happening to us that that's not correct.
Right.
So it's our job to, identify what's going on and change it, or to keep dealing with it. They're choices. You can absolutely keep dealing with it. And we all do. Like, maybe the dick is good. Maybe, you like they got a lot of money or, whatever. And the thing is, sometimes we be like, I'm just going to deal with this because I like the money or I like, the sex or whatever. But when you get to a point where you're just like, I'm not dealing with that, when you get at zero with that, with everybody.
When you get to that point, you're a totally different person.
I feel like I want to title the episode, maybe the dick is good. Because people will be like, what the fuck?
Maybe the dick is good. My homegirl calls it dick poisoning. Literally,
Dick
and
poisoning.
Twan, I don't know if you can identify it, but there's times where I have done some fuck shit, after being dick down. And I'm sorry, Snap. I know that you're over there probably cringing.
It's just
sometimes it's just whoa, what the fuck was I thinking?
Right.
The thing is, you're not thinking, and so you need to not be dealing with people that make you feel that way.
Oh, I love this.
No, I've definitely been down that road before. And then you got to school them okay, now don't play me. You know what I'm saying?
Don't.
And once I feel played,
Don't
it's
get
a
this
whole
shit twisted.
Wait,
But
Snap.
okay, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm like saying Asia right now, like the thought process. Like I don't deal with it. It's like your insecurities are your insecurities.
But I feel like we've had these conversations. So let me just bring y'all into Snap real quick before we wrap this up. So Snap doesn't deal with it, but Snap's way of not dealing with things is avoidance. So that's not dealing with it still.
Yeah. I'm there though.
Snap wants to say so much more.
And I think you guys know me so well.
You know what? And I think a lot of it is I want to have this one-on-one with my lady, right? Before I just throw some shit out that she'll hear listening to our podcast, right?
That's fair.
And so I know that there's work that needs to be done.
On both ends?
On both ends. But I know that in the past, maybe I done did some shit that maybe to cause the insecurities. But again, in this point of our relationship, I need to, if it's not known as shit, I mean, there's absolutely no reason to be insecure about anything that I do. And I don't know, maybe it's, I don't want to say, I don't want to label it, but you know how we'd be like, maybe that's a woman thing. That's y'all be over the top sometime. And no, I don't want to give it a label. I just think it's an individual. If she gonna look through your phone, she gonna look through your phone no matter what relationship you're in.
But that comes from insecurities, right?
Okay, so I can't say she looked through my phone. I never caught her.
But those comes from her. So I'll say this. I connect the dots on if I was looking through someone's phone, there was a guy that I may have dated in my past that made me feel that way. But I have gotten to the place where when I dated a guy in college, if you took me out of who I was, then we weren't supposed to be together. Like I have done that, and I never wanted to go back to feeling like I wasn't myself. Like I lost myself in somebody, and I'm over here running up on them unannounced. I don't do shit like that. I got too much pride for that
Those
shit.
Those are the days, though.
And that's what I'm saying. My girl has male friends. She work in the medical industry.
And that doesn't bother you, right?
No, absolutely not.
But are you able to have female friends?
So,
see, that's another conversation.
I think the reason why, you be starting stuff. The reason why I don't have women friends is because
go back to episode 7. Can friends be lovers?
As a man, I conflict myself sometimes. You know how you talk about that black man on black man and how you could understand? Yeah. And so with me being around, whether she's a single woman or just an attractive woman, right? I'm like, I go from, my first instinct is not to dick you down. No, that's not where I'm at. But then I'm like, but you smell so good. And you look.
But that's why we need to stop sexualizing people.
The labeling, right? And it's like,
Yeah, you can't.
And so I'm one of those dudes, right? I am, when I say I think I can get along with anybody, you could put me in a room and I could excel with anybody. And I don't think anybody's going to be like, you know what? I hate that motherfucker. No, because I think I show everybody love because I expect it in return. I show everybody respect because I expect it in return. So, so one of those things where it comes to insecurities in my relationship, there's times where I'll wake up and she on the phone with some dude. It's like the conversation will wake me up out of my sleep. But my thought process isn't, bitch, please. Or like, who the, no, I don't have that energy. And there's a lot of, I think that's, it takes too much energy.
I think it's when you know who you're dealing with, you can kind of put all that. Because if a nigga ain't shit, then you begin to ask those questions like, okay, so who you on the phone with? Or who you texting, or I'm just waiting for this nigga to leave the phone so I can pick it up and see what's going on. But that's because you know what you're dealing with. Now, on the flip side, when you know that you've got a Snap, you're good. Or you know that you have
but Snap has to fight to keep his stuff under control.
Snap is a mess, whether y'all want to believe it or not.
No, but Snap even knows. And if you go back to these past 13 episodes, you'll hear Snap's shit. And I dig into Snap's ass with certain questions. And so just so y'all know, my co-host, if he wants to answer and he feels like he can't answer, it's the because he did it earlier, just so you all know. I already picked up on that. Like, he didn't even have to tell me. I already know. Cuz, anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted, because since Snap is the only one that's in a relationship, I mean, I feel like as a gatekeeper, because LGBTQ people are, essentially that, especially the brown ones, we have, discernment. And I can see both sides. I'm going to just tell you, women value, most women 100% value open and direct communication. Even when they tell you otherwise, they want you to tell them the truth, right? Because, women can handle shit. They want to know, though. They don't want to be in the dark. But also, it just sounds like, a little bit of self-preservation, if you know that you are going to be like tempted to do something and you're like not having women friends, so you don't do that, that's a good thing, especially if you guys decided to be monogamous. But yeah, it's good that you trust her. I mean, to be on the phone with guys, that's a good thing. I mean, just be direct is how I feel. Like, I mean, that way no one's left in the dark. I think everyone can associate with that. Like, just be direct.
Snap
like,
knows himself, so
like,
I don't even
mind.
go to the strip club no more because there's a chance. There's 90% of a chance I'm getting an erection. So I don't even do the strip clubs no more. It's it's horrible.
And they closed KOD,
It's
by the way, for those that
horrible.
were in. I'm not into strip clubs, but they closed KOD down. They got evicted.
Yeah, you know what? I know the
Yeah, I
people
know.
involved. So I'm
KOD
gonna
said-
Look, y'all want the real tea on that? Come see me Monday.
Yes,
Monday.
Club
because we
Sunday.
know the people involved.
KOD Monday.
Right.
I reported on it, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Matter
That was
of
my
fact,
first strip club.
Twana Dawn had a serious birthday bash at KOD.
Okay, so that's
yeah,
what
it was
this is-
crazy.
yeah, we're gonna talk about this offline. So, Saint Asia, aka Cuz, tell them how they can find you online if you want them to follow you on the socials.
Disclaimer, you guys can follow me, but I don't follow anyone. And it's simple just because I'm not a follower.
I'll put my phone right back down. As
So
soon as you said
that's
that, I'll
fine.
put my phone down.
And I still love you, Swan.
Thank you. I love you more.
But you can find me at Saint, SAINT.Asia, like the continent, and yeah, on Instagram.
Okay.
And
Word.
even though you ain't gonna follow me, I'ma still follow
I'm going to show
you.
Yeah.
love, right?
Thank you.
Well, I love that he's
Absolutely.
honest about it because the one thing I do is I do the pump fake. People had passed me their phone one time to put my info, and I just acted like I did it and passed it right back. I'm like, I'm not trying to do this follow for follow. I
Right.
don't-
That's Georgia.
That's shady, right? I did that. I remember doing.
I love
It's
that.
so
though.
uncomfortable when
I
people
did.
just like, can you follow me?
When I was in New York, I went to a Super Bowl watch party, and I sure enough passed that phone right back to that man. He didn't know. He didn't know.
Wow.
Swan, how can they find you?
I'm on everyone's social media at Twan the Don. My Twan is spelled a little different. My Twan is Toine. Twan the Don.
And so, Snap, how can they find us, Black Nuance Pod, and you?
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. You can find me at Instagram at Rob_OSNAP and on Twitter at ROBOSNAP.
Oh,
you
Saint,
forgot-
we're both bald with a beard. Look at us.
You forgot our socials for Black Nuance Pod.
Oh,
Come on, they're the same for Twitter and Instagram.
it's black with the plus sign.
No!
Nuance. No? Damn.
Twitter, Instagram is Black
many
Nuance
shows-
Pod.
how many shows deep we are?
14.
That's
so
that
Twitter,
good green.
Twitter, Instagram, we're Black Nuance Pod, and it's only because I be pumping out 2 episodes a week because I'm OD like that. So Twitter, Instagram, find us at Black Nuanced Pod. You can find Georgette Twitter as Georgette or Instagram Georgette Star with 2 R's. Thank you all so much. Cuz, aka Saint Asia, Twan the Don, and another episode in the, I don't want to say in the can, but another episode
It's
down.
another good one.
Love it.
Rapper.
Dick poisoning. Dick
Oh,
dead.
wait a
I'm
minute.
coming back for that one.
Dick poisoning. So is that an episode? Like y'all come back for it?
Listen.
You would come back for that, cuz?
I want to come back for all the good ones.
Okay,
Yes.
listen, because you already know I got to bring you back for next week about that other one we were talking about. So,
Oh, yeah.
yes, be safe out
My
there.
brother, it was a pleasure to
Yes,
meet you
be safe
today.
out
Nice
there
talking to you, Saint.
in Cali, okay?
All right, bye-bye.
And put on a mask.
Bye.
Put on a mask.
I will.
All right,
Bye.
bye.